Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler from the Keep Pounding podcast. And today I want to talk about the start of OTAs. The Panthers started OTAs a couple days ago, May 27th. And so OTAs, you got May 27th, May 28th, the 30th, then June 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. So just a 2-week process. So right now they're in phase 3, which started May, May 27th, where OTAs where they're doing 7-on-7 drills, 9-on-7, 11-on-11 drills, but just no live contact. So the off-season workout program that they do, so phase 1 started April 21st, couple weeks, where they're doing more strength and conditioning, PT. Phase 2 is where it started around, I believe, May 5th, where it was more on-field individual and group drills, walk through, again, no live contact. And so after OTAs, you have mini camp, which will start June 10th, and that's a 3-day event, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then training camp, but the dates are unknown for that. So we're going to be talking about how the players are looking at OTAs so far, new joint practice that they just mentioned, injuries, and some other news. So without further ado, so the Panthers dropped a trailer, the blueprint. They always do a really good job. I've always really liked the blueprint in years past. It's always been a really good product that the team has put, the social media team has put together. So I'm not sure when it's supposed to drop. I'm assuming sometime this week. I wish they would give a date. They never give a date about when they release the actual video, but I am looking forward to this, and I wanted to play the trailer real quick. So let's see if I can figure this out. Okay.
And we draft them at 8. How are we feeling?
Going through all the scenarios and guys that we thought we were going to be able to get. I don't think I got that mock draft scenario one time. Like, I didn't think it was possible.
Here we go. We're back.
This is the thing that I'm curious about. That'd be interesting because he'd be a freaking great pick.
The 2025 NFL Draft is now officially open.
There was this clear thought that we were going to pick a defensive player at 8.
I do want to make a video that talk about this video.
Really going to Carolina? That's crazy.
Whenever it comes out.
He can fly.
It's not so much for my family.
I want to trade up. I want to trade back. Like, I just want action.
You better bring it.
We'll call it in.
That Cali to Cali connection will be different.
I'm looking forward to that connection. Okay. So I am looking forward to this. So I will probably do a video just kind of, I don't know if I'm going to react to it and just watch it and react to it, or if I'll just watch it and then talk about, actually just not watch it live stream, but just actually just talk about it. So I'm not sure. I might do a live reaction to it. Okay, so it's been announced that the Panthers are going to be doing only one joint practice with the Texans before the preseason game. I think it's going to be the day before the preseason. I think it's on a Saturday. So we already know we're going to have the joint practice with the Browns. I don't think we're going to have a joint practice with the Steelers. I think that they said that's a no-go, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But again, with the joint practices, I do like this. To me, you get a lot more out of joint practices versus the regular practice because, again, it's different players you're going up against. But with that said, I do hope Canales still plays the starters a little during the preseason compared to last season because he didn't play them at all. And to me, the big difference between joint practices and regular games is the fear and knowing that you can get hit. And to me, that adds a different element. Obviously, you're playing against, it's live, you're playing in front of fans, but the fact that you can get hit, you can't really simulate that in any practice because in joint practices, they're not hitting the quarterback. Everything is controlled. And so I just want to see Bryce, what is there, three preseason games now because they went to 18 weeks. So give me at least 2 games where maybe the first game he plays for 1 or 2 series, the next game he plays for a quarter or so, and then that's it. Like, I just want to see. I think those are good reps to have. He's going into a second year. I think once you get it more into, you're a Mahomes, you're a Josh Allen, you're a franchise quarterback that's been in the same system for 4+ years, then you can back off a little bit, because I know the Chiefs, they don't play Patrick Mahomes. You have the Rams don't play Stafford. That makes sense because that's a franchise quarterback. They don't really need those reps. Bryce Young is in year 3, second year of this scheme with Dave Canales. I still think that he could really benefit from those reps. So we'll see. But again, joint practice, new faces, you're able to control and create scenarios that you can't really get possibly in the game. So I'm glad that they're doing it, but we will be adding 1 joint practice with the Texans. Okay, so let's talk about some injuries. So it was reported, a lot of news. It's funny how, like, in the off season, there's nothing to talk about. Then, bam, there's like so much to talk about. So Tommy Trimble, he had low back surgery. I'm not sure exactly what the surgery was. They said obviously it's low back, but to me, I'm a chiropractor. I work with a integrated facility where I work with medical doctors, pain management, physical therapy, acupuncture. So it definitely sounds like a microdiscectomy because of the timeline. So I'll kind of talk about this. So microdiscectomy is basically, like, they said he was dealing with back issues in the season. And it's interesting the timeline whenever they decided to actually do the surgery, because either they probably wanted him to do conservative therapy first, where he's doing physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic care, decompression, that type of thing, versus surgery. Maybe they did some pain management and it just was still bothering him a little bit. And then they decided to do the surgery, which is common. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, but they obviously did an MRI and saw that it was probably necessary. He's young, the timeline works. And so that's why they're probably doing it now versus earlier in the off season. That just, just from a practitioner standpoint, viewing this, it makes sense. It sucks that he's going to miss reps, but the timeline makes sense. So a microdiscectomy, again, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but based on what I'm hearing and the timeline, this is what makes sense to me. So Joe Person on Twitter clarified that he will be rehabbing the start of training camp. And people are like, well, why is he rehabbing the start of training camp? Well, the microdiscectomy, you have to wait 2 to 4 weeks after the surgery to start any PT. Typically, when you're doing, if it, it's not, obviously this isn't fusion, because fusion, you're doing PT right away and he wouldn't be playing football anymore. So there's some surgeries that you have to rest, and this is one of them. So microdiscectomy, you typically have to wait 2 to 4 weeks before you begin any type of therapy, which kind of basically matches the timeline with training camp. Again, I don't know exactly when training camp is, but it could be 2 to 4 weeks at the earliest. It could be a month or so. So 6 weeks maybe. But to me, again, all this happened. The back occurred during the off season. I don't think, it doesn't sound like something happened during. The back injury was from later in the season, this past season. It doesn't sound like anything new happened. It just sounds like they were going through a protocol until in their protocol he just wasn't getting better, and so now they're doing the surgery. But he will be out for OTAs. He'll be out for minicamp, which is June 10th through the 12th, and he will be on the PUP list to start at training camp, which is when he starts his physical therapy. And training camp typically lasts 4 weeks. I'm not totally sure, again, of the date, but it's interesting to see if he participates at all during training camp. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't. And we'll see if he plays any preseason games. But you have Mitchell Evans that you drafted as a rookie. You have Jatavion Sanders that you was a really good player for us last year. Both are injury prone. Obviously, with Mitchell Evans, that's why he was such a later round pick, because of the injuries that he accumulated in college. JT Sanders, he had the neck injury last year. To me, it makes sense. Do they pick up maybe a Jordan Matthews or somebody else to give them a little more depth there? So a little uncertainty, but to me, it sounds like he'll be ready. Or I could see him ready week 1, but I could also see him, depending on how the rehab is occurring. What was it? It is June, July. No, he'll be ready, but he'll be ready before training camp or ready before week 1, in my opinion. Week 1 is like late September. It's June, July, August. Yeah, he's got because typically it's 3 to 6 months that you can recover. So I think he will be ready, but if he's not, he'll go from the PUP list to the IR, which he'll be out at least 4 weeks. So we'll see how that, how everything works out for him this offseason and how he recovers. But that's just my opinion on it as far as what's going on. It makes sense to me. Again, within Tommy Trimble out, now this gives JT Saunders and Mitchell Evans a lot more reps. So it'll be really interesting to see, will Mitchell Evans take advantage of those reps? So that will be something I will really look forward to seeing, not just during OTAs and mini camp, but for sure training camp. So that's going to be fun to watch. Okay, so we have Joe Person that tweeted that Jalen Coker did not participate in team drills due to a soft tissue injury. That could be anything. It could be hamstring, it could be quad, it could be calf, it could be any muscle, tendon, ligament. So very broad. DJ Wanham, they said back. So that could be a sprain strain of the low back, or it could be a side joint, could be a couple things, but this sounded like he said it's more precautionary than serious. So you have DJ Wanham, if we all remember, back in late 2023, he had that quad tear, and his recovery was pretty complicated with setbacks. He had 3 surgeries with the quad. He had a MRSA infection. He had blood clots around the lungs. He had a lot going on last offseason. And so with all that, he didn't play until week 10 against the Giants. So, and last season, he only played 8 games. But he was productive during those games. He actually was a breath of fresh air whenever he came in and actually played, because he looked like he belonged out there. He looked really good especially compared to what we had. But he had during those 8 games 4 sacks, 18 tackles, a forced fumble, and a pass defended. He's obviously going to be the starter for us. So it's very important for him to stay healthy. So it makes sense that they're just cautious with him. But again, with the injury history, this is something to keep an eye on. And same thing with Jalen Coker, not as much as DJ Wanham last season, but we did notice that he had a couple of injuries, or he had an injury last season that took him out a couple games, where he suffered, again, it was a quad injury. He missed 3 games after the bye week 13, 14. He did return week 15 against the Dallas Cowboys, where he was listed as questionable, but he did play. Again, Jalen Coker was productive for us. He played 11 games. He had 32 receptions, almost 500 yards, and 2 TDs. As an undrafted free agent, played very, very well. So again, these are starters for us. We need to make sure that it just makes sense that Dave Canales and the team and staff are just saying, let's just be cautious. And, this is just them not wearing pads, just running around and kind of going through the process. So they're still in the classroom. They're still, going through installs and everything. It's just, let's not do any team drills right now and aggravate anything. What's great to see, though, is Derek Brown back. Obviously, he's not fully participating in team drills. If you all remember, he had the meniscus tear week 1, out the whole season. And right now he's just in the PT process. Like he's more so in the phase where let's get you back into football strengthening, conditioning shape versus like he doesn't sound like he's like in any pain. It's more so functionally able to play and get to that level where he can play as a full-time starter. Obviously, having Derek Brown is huge. He's easily top 10, probably top 7 at his position, and he's like one of the best run stoppers in the NFL. Having this guy back is a huge bonus, along with the upgrades that we got in free agency. So again, this is something that I'm looking forward to see him going into mini camp and training camp. But I am curious to see how, again, I expect a huge deal a huge year from this guy. He's a beast. So it's just really good to have him out there and going through the installs and everything. He's just not doing any live drills right now. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the wide receivers. So Jimmy Horn during OTAs has looked really solid out there in team drills. He's looking the part that we heard during rookie minicamp, and even obviously now with OTAs, he's obviously very fast. He's very quick. There's a difference between fast and quick, and he's both. What I will say though, and this is both for Jimmy Horn and Hunter Renfrow, is I'll talk about Jimmy Horn right now first. He has the potential to be a really good player. He's obviously has a skill set that we don't have on the roster. So he is obviously very likely to make the roster. But I think there's a lot of hype behind Jimmy Horn Jr. I mean, not just with obviously fans are excited because he adds a different element to what we didn't have before last year with the speed, not just at receiver, but at punt returner. But we got to pump the brakes on like really like there's just a lot of I don't want to say like there's a lot of love. There should be a lot of love for him, but we need to pump the brakes on some of this that we're talking about on Twitter and just in social media in general. Is the guy has been through rookie minicamp and he's had a couple of days of OTAs. We got to pump the brakes. I want to see how he plays in pads, how he plays against the defense. I think he will make the roster, but for him, a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's a lock. He's a lock." Probably, but let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what this is. I want to see more from this guy. I am excited about him. I think he was great value in the 6th round, but again, he was a 6th round pick. Not all 6th round picks make the roster. Again, I'm not saying that I think that he's not going to, but we need to pump the brakes and let this play out a little bit. Let's see again how he plays in performs in minicamp, how he performs in training camp, joint practices, preseason games. Let's get more, let's see more tape on him in live game versus like no pads. So again, I think he will make the roster. I think we'll definitely keep 6 wide receivers, but if they're depending on how the receivers are playing during training camp and preseason, if they're just especially with Hunter Renfrow, to me, he's a wild card for me. If he can get back to his old form, you have to keep him on the roster. There's no questions about it. You have to keep him. And so you're going to have, obviously, T-Mac, XL, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker. You're going to most likely have Jimmy Horn. I feel like I'm missing somebody here. But to me, Kobe Hudson's another one that there has been playing really well, another undrafted free agent as well. And look at some of those undrafted free agents. They've had some, if you remember last year, Jalen Coker had a fully guaranteed, what was it, like $225,000 or something like that, fully guaranteed contract. They gave out some of those as well to the receivers, and not just receiver, corner, and a few other players as well. So there's a lot of competition specifically at the wide receiver position. And I can see us, depending on how that shapes out during this offseason, I can see us keeping 7. I definitely can. So, and that depends, maybe DJ Johnson's out and you keep 5 edges versus 6. And now there's a lot of variables to it. So, to me, again, these guys aren't locks. I think Jimmy Horn is more of a lock than Hunter Renfrow, but we got to pump the brakes a little bit on Jimmy Horn. Let's get a little bit more evidence and see how he performs in training camp, joint practices, and the preseason games, and I'll give my opinion on it. Okay, Nick Scorton. Nick Scorton looked pretty good out there. He was looking really quick during team drills. I am curious to see like what his weight is like. So we all know during was it Texas A&M? They had him a lot bigger. He was 285. Played him a little differently than he did when he was in Purdue, where he was lighter. He weighed more 265, 260, and that's where you saw his production in Purdue, and it dropped off a little bit at Texas A&M again with the added weight, not as fast, and he was, what they asked of him was different than Purdue. So it was nice to see him in team drills looking very quick and fast and strong. He still hasn't signed his rookie contract. well, and this is something I didn't know until a couple days ago. So Jaden Daniels, he was their wide receiver that got drafted by the Houston Texans at pick 34. He got the first fully guaranteed contract as a second round pick ever. And so I think only 2 or 4 second round picks have signed since then. Everyone else that has not signed. Everyone else has not signed. So Nick Scorton, I think they're basically looking for some more guaranteed. So this sounds like it's just going around the league, and we'll see what happens. But it's not something I'm worried about because it's not just us. It's literally almost pretty much everybody in the whole league right now, the second round picks. So that's why there's a holdup, is because Jaden Daniels got that fully guaranteed contract. And so now, obviously, agents and players want a little bit more. Makes sense. I understand. I would do the same thing. But Nick Scorton looked good out there. I'm looking forward to seeing him develop during the offseason program and seeing how he plays, not just in joint practices in preseason, and seeing how he develops and plays alongside DJ Wanham and Patrick Jones II. Okay. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, this wide receiver tandem here. It's going to be fun to see them develop, again, not just the OTAs and training camp, but just throughout the season. I'm really excited about this offense, especially with XL. If he can fix the drops, which he had mentioned that he didn't have an issue with getting separation, being able to get open. He had an issue with the drops. So if he can fix that, this is going to be so much fun to watch. And again, I agree with XL. XL was saying that he doesn't see it as a wide receiver 1 or 2. He sees it as you have to worry about that person on the right and that person on the left, both sides of the field. And again, if he can fix the drops this season, he will have an amazing season and will probably, in my opinion, again, based on his size and his speed, if he can fix the drops and continue to develop, I think eventually you'll see him be wide receiver 1. But again, this is going to be, we finally have a really solid wide receiver room, not just at the top, but depth-wise as well. But if XL can continue to develop and fix those drops and T-Mac can be what we all think he can be, this offense, and Bryce Young especially, can get back to how he was the back half of the season. Dude, we could possibly be a top 10, guaranteed top 15 offense. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Again, we know he can separate, but can he finish catching the ball? I do like that there's no animosity here. There's no ego. I've never obviously met XL, but just kind of watching him be in the spotlight, if you will, throughout this offseason. It's really been fun. He just seems like a guy that's a genuine good dude. And I don't know too much about T-Mac, but it's just nice to see these guys enjoying practices together, having a camaraderie. And again, Brad Idzik mentioned during his press conference, it's about getting good character guys. And when you get good character guys, and even if you add competition to that, there isn't this like animosity between each other. It's like embrace the challenge, which I love it. I love it. I did want to show real quick a couple of videos here. See if I can pull it up here. Okay. Maybe I can't. Oh, I was wanting to show some videos of OTAs, but I'm not able to. I'm still trying to figure out this StreamYard thing, but maybe I'll have it up next time. But just some of the videos maybe if I pull it up on Twitter, actually. Let's see. I thought I'd be able to share screen it but I'm not able to. I'll just try to do it next time. Next time I do videos, I'll have it saved and put it in here. I thought I'd be able to do it, but it was just some videos of T-Mac and XL catching passes, and just want to cover a couple things. But again, I'm excited to see these guys progress and develop this season. Okay, so Bryce Young what I liked, what I want to talk about a little bit is just again how he ended the back half of the season. So he had 10 TDs rushing and passing the final 3 weeks of the season with no interceptions. Since taking over again as a starter in week 8, he had 26 of what PFF defines as a big time throw, and he was tied for most in the league over that span with the Bengals' Joe Burrow. He led the team on game tying. He led the team on game winning or game time drives 6 times in the final 9 weeks. And to me, again, if Bryce Young can be who he was the back half of the season and be that pretty consistently, this team is going to win the division, in my opinion. And especially that defense can stay, at least be average, we're winning the division. Should definitely compete for the division, but depending on how things click for us throughout the season, if Bryce Young can play that way and XL can fix the drops and our defense can be at least average, I think we're going to win the division. But Bryce did talk about how it's nice building off of last year and that they're starting so much further ahead compared to last season. They're already in phase 3. Everything is kind of like a refresher for them. And then XL talked about just how Bryce is still showing that same energy as he was at the end of the season when he was playing elite football. So again, what I'm looking forward to see, and that's why I want to be able to see Bryce in the preseason, because I think if you can get him in a couple of series playing live reps in a live game where he knows he can get hit and just be comfortably in like, okay, this is an actual for real game. And, obviously, you could be, it's not like you're scheming against each other, but you're able to maneuver in the pocket, make a couple plays, feel good about yourself, and just kind of build into week 1. So if we can get Bryce Young to be again who he was last season, that's what I'm most excited about the most. This is what I'm looking forward to the most. Is I got to see Bryce be who he was last season in the back half of the season. This is a season where Dan has done a really good job building around him. He has a solid offensive line. He has solid weapons. He has a solid running game. He has familiar faces that are back. He has familiar weapons. He has an upgraded defense. And again, I think a lot of the season really will predicate on how the defense plays. If the defense can be surprising people and really kind of come close to how our defense was back in 2023, Bryce's rookie season, you're going to see a big jump this year. Okay. So during Dave Canales' press conference, both Bryce Young and Dave Canales, they said they talked this past Tuesday about the little things that they can do to tweak the offense. So, which obviously the offense was very successful the back half of the season last season. And then, like I talked about, the personnel it's consistent. But again, with the offensive line coming back the same, the XL, Tavion Sanders, Tommy Trimble when he comes back, Chuba Hubbard, but now you're adding T-Mac, Rico Dowdle, Mitchell Evans to the offense. It's just getting better, and now you're in the second year of the scheme. They talked about self-scouting themselves, knowing what they did well, what they didn't do well, adding things to things that Bryce Young can do at the line of scrimmage so that he has more options before hiking the ball. It sounds like he's going to be given a lot more freedom to adjust things to the line of scrimmage based on what the defense has given him. So he's getting a lot more tools he's giving him more of the keys to the offense. So I'm really excited to see us progress and get better, not just as a team, but also, as a player standpoint, but a coaching standpoint too. The biggest thing for me is, can Evero, I know he can be a good coach. He's shown it in the past, and obviously the most recent year he showed it was back in 2023. And it's really easy to forget that when you had a really bad season last year. We all know how bad our defense was personnel wise, but again, in my opinion, if you are a really good defensive coordinator, you can at least help fix some of the bleeding. There was no fixing the bleeding. There was no answer. There was nothing that it seemed that anyone can do or adjust to stop the run or do anything. I remember the Commanders game when Jaden Daniels was out after like a series or two, and I forget who the backup quarterback was at that time, destroyed us. We could not stop that offense. So our defense was pathetic last year. So Evero's on the hot seat. If Evero can get back to how he was before, and he has no excuse, he has a lot more better players. I get that it's a lot of like new faces to the defense, but they're not rookies. They're younger players, but they've been in systems before. So this shouldn't be like a very slow learning process. We should see a big difference come week 1. And hopefully we still need to add depth to this defense, specifically at corner. It sounds like Jalen Ramsey is retiring. I don't know if you saw his tweet a couple hours ago, but it sounds like he's retiring. So who's going to be that corner? Are we going to pick up a corner? We'll see. We'll see. But the secondary is, to me, the biggest weak link, and especially with us in a division where we have a lot of good wide receivers, specifically the Bucks. You have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, and now they added Emeka Buka in the draft, in the first round at wide receiver, the guy from Ohio State. If JC Horn or Mike Jackson is down, it's like, who is left? And that is what scares me the most. If either one of them are out, that's a huge weak link in our defense. So again, a lot of this year to me is really going to be weighed in how does the defense play this year. But I am excited to see Bryce Young given a lot more tools, a lot more keys to the offense. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that I saw during lunch today at work, and it kind of aggravated me a little bit. I want to talk about this. So I saw a tweet by Mike K today. Someone asked him, Mike K, practice today? And he tweeted and quote tweeted it and said, media not invited outside of in-house and Panther lessons, evidently. So there was Luke Kuechly out there today. Steve Smith was out there today. And then in-house to me is like the Panthers like media team. I'm not a fan of this. So this had me thinking. So I asked Mike, what pretty much I asked him, like, is this normal? And for them to do this, and he basically said the rule is that technically the team is only required to have media covering OTAs at least one time a week. They can do every day, but they're not obligated to. And so to me, that's a Tepper move. It doesn't make sense not to have the beat writers out there. We already can't have fans out there. Now we can't have the beat writers out there. And I haven't looked too much into this as far as like the requirements for like mini camp. I think they have to be there, that they're required to be there every day during mini camp and training camp. But it's just like, it had me thinking. So if y'all remember when the Panthers announced their new practice facility, that was December of 2023. And then fast forward from that date to the 2024 offseason, you had during OTAs and training camp, it was evident that security was beefed up, and they made it a point to some people more than others that no pictures or videos shall be taken. And that makes sense. Like, you don't want someone to have a tripod videotaping your whole practice. I get that, right? Like, things are going to get leaked. And technically, if you wanted to, and you had a drone license, you can have the drone up and you can videotape, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. There's no legal obligation if you have a drone license that they have to say to take it away, which is interesting. But and that reminds me, would y'all remember the drone gate? Was it during training camp last year? CK from C3, the podcast, which this is all known, by the way. They've talked about this. This is like a little under a year ago that they had an episode where they talked about this. So this isn't new to anyone. I'm not outing them or anything, but CK used a drone to videotape the practice. And I remember Dave Canales didn't even know that it occurred. And then you had the Panthers reaching out to him to, would you kindly not videotape and all this stuff, right? So I'm to me, I just look at action versus like when someone does something and it starts to, I just try to put things together. That's all I'm trying to do. And so I think about all that in the past, and I fast forward to the day before the draft. The Panthers tweeted out and made a statement that fans won't be able to attend OTAs or training camp due to the construction that's taking place for the new practice facility. And I'm like, and this is again April 2025. And I'm like, wait, didn't you guys know about this December 2023? And then all of a sudden, the day before the draft, you're like, oh, fans aren't allowed. And you're like, let's just do it during that time. So that way, the draft will come and fans will kind of not think about it. That's intentional. I don't care what anybody says. Like, there's no way that they can't think and be like, hey, of course we want our fans there. If you really wanted the fans there, you would have made it a point to figure out how to bring what to do and where to go to make sure the fans can be there, at least have like a head count of like, hey, we can only have, we want to practice here, but this facility only allows 100 people. And then maybe you have to be able to, make an appointment online to, or something like that to kind of make sure that, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of different things they could do if they really wanted fans to be there. So now, and then you fast forward to today, and now you have the beat writers that aren't allowed to come in for OTAs for the rest of the week. It's like this just feels intentional. And so I tweeted back and I'm like, maybe I'm looking too much into this, but do you think with the history of people videotaping practices, having drones at the practice, now not allowing fans at practice for at least a couple years and restricting beat writers coverage to the minimum, to me, it seems intentional by Tepper. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into this, but it seems like I'm just adding piece by piece to piece. It just doesn't make sense not allowing people to help cover the team when the team has been god awful the last 7 years since Tepper's owned the team. So again, I'm pretty sure, I think I remember Joe Person on Twitter did say that they were able to cover them all in mini camp and training camp, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll look into it. But it's just, why else would you not want the beat writers to be there and cover it? Like, it just didn't make sense. It kind of pissed me off a little bit, just because, again, with the history, with like, I was just putting pieces together, and I'm like, it may not be intentional. Maybe just like, hey, they just wanted it for X, Y, and Z. I don't know, but I just didn't like that. So again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but wasn't a fan of that at all. So, as OTAs is close to finishing again, OTAs I believe ends the 2nd, if I'm correct. Let me double check here. It ends the 3rd, June 5th. June 5th is the last day for OTAs. So no practice tomorrow, but you have practice June 2nd, 3rd, day off, and then June 5th. And then 5 days until mini camp, which is 3 days. And then we'll figure out when training camp is. Once I get the dates, I'll let you guys know. But throughout off season, I'm just gonna give you my opinion on kind of like where players are at in the depth chart. Is someone heating up and maybe climbing the depth chart? Is someone cooling down? Well, I'll keep you up to date if there's any new signings, if we release anybody, all that. But I am looking forward to this upcoming rest of the off season, seeing how the new players, a lot of new players on the defense, some new players on the offense, can Bryce Young continue to develop. I'm looking forward to all that. So thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you feel inclined, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, let me know what you like, what you don't like about this this episode. Give me your thoughts on what you're excited about the most during the off season. During the off-season programs for not just OTAs, but mini camp and training camp. What competitions are you looking forward to? Like for me, I'm looking forward to center. will Cade Mays or Corbett win that job? I'm looking forward to maybe can Mitchell Evans beat out JT Sanders? I don't know. I'm looking forward to the edge rushers, how they're going to compete and play. So really excited, but I'm really excited to see the younger guys in the defense, how they perform. So thank you guys again. Again, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. I'm just trying to grow a community to talk Panther football. I want to be able to grow it enough where, you guys are attending my live streams where I'm able to communicate with you a little bit on, what's going on, and maybe add some topics that you guys like to discuss. So, if you like the video, hit a like, share with your friends, just trying to grow a fun Panther community. So thank you guys again. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.